Good evening, Lynn here, and we're going back to distressed inks. Do not be distressed, and this is just a reminder, this is probably the best way to store your inks. With the daubers in the middle, applying to each color, because you know the daubers are right next to the ink. It's the best way to store them. My sister, who lives in California, and she's the one who got me involved in journaling, she had sent me these daubers. This was filled. 42. I have 4 left. But it was a great value. I used them. It was a great value. And this lifts up, and this divider comes out. So after I use all the daubers, I have a nice clear case to store more craft stuff, because you can never have too many clear boxes. So I want to go back to what I did last week, where I ended off. If you remember, I had taped off these areas with what's called wall tape. It only is sticky on one side. And this is a little piece of burlap that I cut out. And what you do is you peel, see, you pull off the edges, you see that? So you have that. You do it nice and neat. And this is one of my butterflies. I have a little butterfly punch. And that's probably the way I'm going to glue it down. This is the glue I'm using presently. Berry Art glue. See that? It comes with a nice long pin with a green ball on the top, which I already misplaced, so now I have a different pin with a white ball on top. But it's a nice glue. It dries pretty quick, so you got to move fast. But this is how I'm going to do it. Put a little bit of glue right there. Not too much, because I know I'm going to put the butterfly there. I don't have to glue the whole thing down. Just enough of it. Okay, it's moving a little bit. That's okay. That's expected. Then I'm going to put some glue right on the back of the butterfly. Okay, something like that. Then I'm just going to glue this little baby on. And what I do is I use these now. Dollar Tree sells these. They're very small craft clips. But you could also buy the kind that quilters use to hold their fabrics and squares in place. I have quite a few of these also. And so just to make sure that glue's good down, I'm going to put that right there. Then I just forget about it for a few minutes, and I'll go back to that. Then if you remember from part 2, I had used the daisy and made it blue. There I've used it. That lace in the background, I pasted that down. Then this is a ribbon. I bought it at Hobby Lobby. It's a leaf ribbon. And then I distressed it with Salty Ocean. Salty Ocean, not completely, just so it's not just plain white. You could see just like areas of it. Then I have a double layer of ribbon. And that's a tag. And it's ready for my, and then I usually like to put writing lines in the back for journaling. And I added a butterfly, and this one is ready for my denim journal. Then the next thing that we worked on was when I colored that piece of purple lace. And if you remember, there it is. I put it on a purple tag, and I will put this aside for my lavender journal. So I had that ready ahead of time. But if you remember when I was using the inks, you know, you got to do it on a white piece of paper. And then I said, oh, I like that pattern. So what I did was I used my butterfly punch. And I punched out a lovely butterfly. And then I went around with seedless preserves to give it some dark. See, I went all the way around. This is how I do it. See, this doesn't have any color right there, so I'm going to add color. Now I've done it completely all around. And I have a little watercolor type butterfly ready for a tag or a corner of a journal page, something. So that'll be also for my lavender journal. Now what I did, and I'm very excited about tonight, because I get to show you what I've been working on. Distressed inks, that's all. I made an entire pattern using these that I bought at Dollar Tree. Recognize the label. And also my little daubers. And the colors I used were the Mermaid Lagoon, the Peacock Feathers, and the Cracked Pistachio. And I used these big, and then this size, and then my little daubers. And I overlay them, and you kind of make a nice little pattern. And you play around with it until you're happy with it. Now this is sort of big, so I scanned it in my computer and I printed it out small. And the way it looks small, if I can find the sheet, which would be lovely, but I seem to have misplaced it. I scanned it in and printed it out actual size. And then I printed it out small. And I put a quote about circles on top of it. So that's it, very, very small. That's all that's the size of that. That whole thing is this big, and then I did another one underneath. And I printed them out together to make a long tag or a bookmark for a journal, for my denim journal. 2 main categories of people are needed in your circle. Those who give you the necessary support to accomplish your dreams, and those who become beneficiaries of what you achieve. And so that's ready for my journal. And what we do is we do little corners. Now this is a template. It's very easy to make. You cut out a square piece of cardstock. And then you do different size. You just do different corners. And then you decide which corner you want to use for your tag. So you press it in like that, right? Can you see that? You press it in like that. Then you take your scissors. Now you're not going to slide it over because this is a different size. What you have to do is flip this over. That's what makes it a template. So you're using the same exact triangle. Because I can't do it by eye. I mean, I have to have a little help. So there's my template. Gonna cut that right next to it. See? And now I have even a tag with that corner. And then I'm going to use a new punch I just purchased. I love it. I got it on Amazon, and I'm going to put the link below if you want to order it. I believe it was $14.99, but it is very well made. It's an excellent punch. I just love it. And then I'm going to put this right in the middle. Hopefully I get it. I do a good job. See, and now I'm ready for a piece of ribbon. Because I always like to put ribbons and things through my tags. Something like this I will put through there, but I don't have to show you that for now. You get the idea. So back to this project. So I wanted to show you exactly, oh, and I did a tiny little tag. Fill your circle with positive people. So you could do a big repeat, and if you scan it in or take it to Kinko's or wherever with a little thumbnail drive, you know, a little thumb drive, and have them put it as a JPEG, you could bring it into your computer, and then you could play with the scale and print it out real small the way I did. You could even print it out larger. Have fun with it. So you're actually designing your own pattern. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to show you quickly how it's done. So for this particular project, and I don't want to, this is probably the best to work on. I'm going to use a different set of colors. I'm going to use Pickled Raspberry, Seedless Preserves, and I think I'll use Abandoned Coral. Or should I jump to spot? No, I think I'll use Abandoned Coral. So this is how you do it. Open up your 3 colors. And I tend to use the same family of colors when I'm doing these sort of overlays. Okay. Then I'm going to take these daubers. And I'm going to start with the Abandoned Coral because it's the lighter color. See, I'm just going to get that in really good. And I'm going to press it down, and I have a circle. Now I'm going to press it off the page so it really looks like an all-over pattern. And if it gets lighter, that's okay, because that's the effect you want. And I probably have room to do one more of the Abandoned Coral in this larger size that I'm using. And so let me get that in view for you. Okay, and you see the pattern starting to emerge. And I always keep those baby wipes at my desk because it's a quick way of cleaning up if you get ink on your table. But I'm going to just rub this off. See, I'm going to clean it off on this part of the piece of paper because this is what I'm working on. This is just my background. So I'm going to take that off. And now I'm going to go for the second color, which is the Pickled Raspberry. I'm just going to overlay. I mean, this is not taking me that long. You can see how long this is taking me. Boom, boom, boom. And then I do another one maybe here. And then maybe a light. As you start to use it up, it gets really light. And that's exactly what you want. Because you want this effect of in and out of dots. And then we'll do just a couple of the Seedless Preserves. This one's a little dark because it's a purple. So I'm going to make sure I test it out there first. I think I'll put one here, and then maybe one here. Okay, so that's the beginning of this repeat. I'm going to hold it up so I can move it. You could see it. And then you just now take the smaller size. You always start with the biggest circle and work your way down. So now we're going to use this, but don't worry, this blue is not going to come off. It's really inked in there, so it's not going to mess up anything. So I'm going to go back to the abandoned coral and do a smaller one. Maybe I'll do a smaller one here. And don't forget to go off the page. You want to go right off the page. Even though that's very light, what I did right there, that works out fine. Then I rub it off on the extra piece of paper I have here. Then I'm going to use the grape. Actually, it's seedless preserves. I should call it by its proper name. And I'm not gonna do too dark, because I'm gonna keep this on the edge, because purple does tend to be darkest. I think that's enough on that. And now we're gonna go to the Doorbells for each of these colors. And I have them all arranged next to their proper color. So this is the Pickled Raspberry. I'm going to do it there. And a little small one there. And a little small one down here. And don't forget to overlay. You definitely want to overlay. You don't overthink it. It's because if you put words on top, or if you have a die-cut butterfly and you're going to put a butterfly on top, you can easily fill up an empty area or an area where you didn't like the way the dots came out. You could add things on top, because this could become a tag. And now we're going to take the abandoned coral. I'll get the proper Doorbell, and I'm gonna put one, let's say here. Ooh, that came out too dark, but that's okay, because like I said, you could fix it another time. There's ways I could cover that with a butterfly or a word or something. So I don't get too stressed out about these things. And now it's starting to get lighter. See, every time you do it, it gets lighter. So now I can start to fill it up. And then the last is the purple. Now the purple, I want to be careful, because this color does come out dark. So I'm not gonna put too much ink on it. I'm gonna just okay, now it needs a cooling color. And what I mean by that, and I'm going to bring this back to show you, I used all the blues. This is Faded Jeans, this is Peacock Feathers, this is Mermaid Lagoon, and they're all in the same family. So I took this color called Old Paper, which is a very dull light green. And I kind of went over it, and that kind of fills in the empty spaces and sort of warms it up a bit. So I need to figure out what color I want to use to do the same thing here. And I think I'm going to use a color called Weathered Wood. It's sort of like a gray. It's very light. And now watch what happens when I use it. I'm going to take the big dauber, right? The one I bought at Dollar Tree. Make sure I rub all that color off. I'm going to take this color. I'm going to just go right over. Going to just go right over my colors. Maybe I'll do one at the edge, just at the edge. Then I'm going to take the next size. Make sure I clean off the last color I used. And this is all I'm doing. I hope you could see. Maybe I should move this up a little bit more, but I'm just rubbing this against my paper. Now I'm going to go in here with this color called Weathered Wood. And it's like a gray. I'm going to do, let's see, I'm going to do a little overlay here. And I think that's it. Maybe in this corner a little bit. Because, you know, as it starts to get lighter, it's even better because you could put it right over a color that came out too strong. And it's like you see, it's there, but it's not there. Okay? And then finally, the dauber, which I always have in the thing, the teeny dauber. I'm going to just do some small ones of this gray. Let's see, I want to put one maybe here, 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 here. And now we have created a pattern. And when you scan this in and bring it into your computer, if you work in Pages, I don't work in Word, but because I work on an iMac and I really don't use Word, but if you work in Pages, you can adjust the color. You can make it more sepia toned and it'll warm up all the colors, or you can cool them off even further. So there's a lot you can do. So I've created a pattern. Now I could reduce it really small the way I did. Let me just get this out of the way. I could reduce it really small. Ooh, I wet that. It'll dry though, it'll be all right. This is a small one. Same size daubers, but I reduced it. And it makes the cutest little bookmark, doesn't it? So cute. Okay. Another thing I did with the little dots is I used my heart punch. And I punched out a heart. I'll probably use that in my denim journal. Then, and maybe, I don't know if you'll see the circles in the back, but that's a stamp that I have. And it's a sort of an old looking stamp. And see the circles under there? I just stamped right on top of it. So this is good for my journal. And I'll put that there. And then finally, I want to show you what I did. See that? That's my dots. I had this and I had this. This I bought from G. Kerr, I believe, or it was a freebie. I cannot remember. And then I put, and you can get this baker's twine in all different colors. I know Dollar Tree sells it. So every time they have 3 new colors, I buy it for $1. I mean, why not? I'm pretty sure I got pretty sure I got that clear bead at Dollar Tree, and it's got sort of an iridescent aqua blue color to it, and it says, "Do what you love and love what you do." Now, this is important, what I want to show you, because you can fix things. Now, as you can see, I just lined up the pattern I did, then I lined up one underneath. So you see there's kind of like a line, right? This circle kind of ends. You notice it, but you don't. And what you can do is go back very carefully with, let's see, the color I had used on that was old paper. So I might just take my Doorbell for old paper. If I could find it, would be nice. There it is. Okay, and I always practice along the side, make sure, that's better. So I'm going to put a little circle right there. So it kind of, see what I mean? It kind of, so now when I cut it out, it really looks like a continuous pattern. See that? See what I did? And if I want to add a little more of it, like, see it printed out a little bit gray in that corner? I can go back over that, and maybe where it didn't come out strong enough, because this color is important. It settles the whole pattern in. I hope you could see that and see what I mean. Right in there. And just have fun. Just do dots. Dots are fun. They make great, they're good for making patterns, background patterns. They really are. So that's that. So if any of my subscribers do like what's happening here with the distress inks and want to purchase them at Hobby Lobby or Michael's or online, I want to tell you the difference between oxide and distress ink, distress oxide and distress ink. What is the difference? This is the same color. I don't know if you could see that. I'll hold it. See? Salty ocean. They both say salty ocean. When you take the tops off, you can see a big difference. The oxide is always going to be lighter. Now, I did a little tag real quickly to show you. This is the ink, and this is the oxide, the salty ocean. You could see on a light color, they both pretty much look the same. But it's what happens with dark colors. Oxides have a pigment in it, which means it sits on top of the paper. You know when you buy a dark t-shirt and maybe it has a logo on it? That's done with pigments. It sits on top of the t-shirt because when you turn the t-shirt inside out, you don't even see what's printed on it because it's pigment. It sits on top of that one side. Whereas inks are a little different. Inks go into the fabric. You know, like when you dye fabric, it goes all the way through. It doesn't sit on top. That's the same with these. This is my Doorbell for distressed salty ocean. I'm going to do it on this black of paper. Can you see it? No. Because inks go into the paper. You're not going to see it. Now, look at the difference when I use the distressed oxide. This is a pigment, like when you buy a black t-shirt with a logo. Amazing, huh? Same colors. This is the difference. It's a big difference. So you have to think about, see, I could do a dot pattern with all oxides on black and it'll come out. But you can't do that with inks. But I don't do too much on dark colors. So it doesn't matter to me too much. But I just thought you might like to know the difference. So that when you use it on lighter colors, it's not going to make a difference. So if you can use these on the same project at the same time, when you're doing it on lighter paper, you're not going to have a problem. But let's say you use dark craft paper. The ink is going to make it very dark, and the oxide is going to sit on top of the craft paper. So that's the difference. I thought that was important to explain. And then finally, for this pattern, I can't make a decision, and I want you in the comments section, if you feel like it, to give me your opinion. I don't know if it needs anything there. It's kind of cute with the dots. And then I had this little butterfly, and I was thinking of putting that little butterfly there. Or I have a bigger butterfly, and I did glue some wire to make antennas. And then I put a pearl dot that I got at Dollar Tree. I'm pretty sure that was Dollar Tree. And the way I glue the wire is I just put a big hunk of the berry glue on top. And I just cover it completely and wait for it to dry. So it's totally covered. Then I don't have to worry about it falling off. Or I could put that, and then it's a little big, but I'd love to know everyone's opinion. Big butterfly, little butterfly, no butterfly. I thank you for watching. Good night.